Hey everybody, welcome back to Paranormal Investigation. And with me today is Dee Johnson. And I met Dee while haunt acting actually at Pine Mountain Gold Museum in Billerica, Georgia. And even though we were doing the haunt train, it's actually a historic site. So there's a lot of interest in paranormal activity and investigation. I first became aware of Dee and some of the others who were ghost hunters essentially and had a bunch of equipment. And about that time, I decided because I live on a wide open land that has some kind of historical events happen here. Uh, I asked them to come out and walk the land, and they brought out some of their toys, some of their ghost hunting equipment. I myself have never been one for actually using any of the tools of the trade. Whenever I go out to investigate anything, I always pay attention to all of the elements that might debunk the haunt. So I pay attention to the atmosphere, the lay of the land, the altitude, the weather, the seeing if everything is balanced, and if there's any kind of draft in the house. So I don't know anything about the equipment used in paranormal investigation, but I know some people who do, and Dee is one of those people. Dee, can you tell me about some of the stuff that you brought today?
Sure, I brought my newest thing. I don't know if you can see it on there. It's a thermal imaging camera. Shows up heat sources. See, that's my newest toy. I just got a few weeks ago. Also, I have what's called a spirit box. This is one of the newer ones on the market. It's called an S box. It has its own built-in speaker. You don't have to have external speaker. It's a sweeps AFM and AM radios signal frequencies, and a REM pod, which helps to produces its own EMF field, electromagnetic field, and the theory is when a ghost gets close to it, it lights up. And depending on how strong the signal is, depends on how many lights will come on. So, anyway, the thermal imaging camera, I haven't had a chance to really use it, but the theory is that sometimes a spirit may leave behind a thermal image, a heat source, that if you find a handprint on the wall that no one has touched the wall, you never can tell. It might have been a spirit, or it could just been water pipes behind the wall. The S box, also called a spirit box, there's one of the most popular ones on the market. It's called a PSB7. A lot of ghost hunters still use it, but it just scans, turn the volume up, radio frequencies. And if you can hear that, turn it down there. The theory of that is if it's scanning at a high rate of speed and you hear a intelligent response to a possible question asked, it's possibly, most likely, maybe something from the beyond talking to you. If all that we just heard was probably just more likely radio bleed through, because you hear all sorts of stuff. You have to train your ear to start listening for what you know to be possible radio bleed through and what's kind of a little bit more unexplainable. The theory behind the spirit box is, as I was saying, it scans the FM and AM radio stations. You can go forward sweep or a backward sweep, and most of them have varying speeds. You can go fast or slow. I prefer a medium to fast speed backwards because I feel that I would get more possible intelligent responses that way than going forward with it. It's not that it's speaking backwards, it's just going backwards to the radio stations. Most of the time, it's just radio garble, and you just ignore it. But one time, there's been a few times I was actually using my original PSB7 going down the road, and I distinctly heard very clearly someone say, "Hello, Miss D." That's my name, Dee. So that was a little odd and it was a little shocking. And I didn't realize until last year that I actually have where I was driving through, I actually have family, distant relate ancestors in that area. So that was kind of a surprising revelation to me that maybe there was something there that knew me. Another time I was using it, and as I was driving, I like to use it a lot driving down the road. My theory is there's car wrecks all the time, people dying left and right on the side of the road, and maybe I'll pick up something.
I never considered that.
Yep. So I don't like talking to it unless I'm on an investigation because I don't want something following me home. Case in point, as I'm driving down the road, something said, stop, stop. And I said, why do you want me to stop? I want to get in. Like, no, I do not pick up hitchhikers, ghostly or otherwise. This is not Disney World. But that's one of my favorite things to use is the ghost box. I can listen to it, and I said I don't talk to it in general because I don't want something hitching a ride with me unless I'm on investigation, and then there's other precautions you can take, saying prayers or something protects you, or just say, hey, look, you have to stay here. What else? REM pod. Did I talk about this?
Not in full. You spoke about the lights, and the lights would light up if something was close. And
so on this one, I haven't really got a really good chance to go on an investigation since I bought it because of...
Let me adjust the camera so you can see this thing.
I could have moved it closer.
That's okay.
So... Can you read it? Yeah, I can read it. So anyway, these asked the spirits, hey spirits, I've got this piece of equipment here. If you get close to the antenna, you can make the lights go off. If anyone's ever heard of a Thurman, it kind of has the same basic, what is the word I'm looking for? Usage? Operation. So you get close to it, and I can
reacts.
And it reacts. Yeah. I can set the field, so you have to be really close to it, or you can set it so that I have to reread the instructions, but you can set it so you can make the field wider. And I said, most of the time it just depends on how close you get and how much energy it's been used. It has a temperature setting on it so that it will also, you can turn on the temperature button. I forget what it's called, but it has its own special little name. And it will register a drop in temperature in case a spirit is going by and it makes the air surrounding atmosphere cold.
So essentially, if you were on an investigation, you would maybe take a few of these and put them in different rooms in a house, and then you didn't have to monitor it. Maybe set up some cameras to watch the room and have this in there. Okay.
So the closest thing I might have gotten, I've got a little dog at home. She does not like people in general that she doesn't know, and that includes dead ones evidently as well. She's only got sight in one eye. She's lost sight in an eye as a puppy when she was injured at 3 weeks old when I found her, and that little dog sees more than I can see. But she was at the Gold Museum one day, and I was just out there walking around, and she starts barking at an empty set of steps like she does when she sees somebody that she doesn't know and she doesn't want to be bothered. And she would not go there to those steps. So a few nights later, I took the REM pod, set on the steps, and one time, one of the green lights lit up. A lot of times it will just, if I got the temperature setting on it, it will beep, just constantly adjusting itself to regulate the temperature. But that one green light lit up, and that was kind of about the only response I've had from it since I got it about a year ago, since I haven't really had a chance to go anywhere during COVID season.
Yeah.
So, and my thermal imaging camera, I got it, and the same day I got it, I went out.
Get a little closer to the camera with that for the kids.
Went out to the outside, and it was getting dark, and I heard something in the woods, and I looked, and the first thing I saw on my new thermal imaging camera was a deer. So that was kind of exciting. Not a ghost deer, just a regular deer. Oops. Let's get that thing out.
But we know it works because you picked up the deer.
Let me turn this thing off. It's annoying.
That thing looks like a battle bot, by the way.
If John can hold his camera, I'll show you something kind of interesting that I think is kind of neat. Can you show it on the table?
Oh, yeah.
All right, I'm putting my hand on the table. I moved my hand. Is that showing up?
Oh, a little bit further forward.
Whoa,
There we go.
Whoa, there it is.
And so you can see her handprint.
So, but
Hopefully that shows up.
hopefully. I wonder if it would work on the wall. So, but anyway, and I've got a ton more equipment at home, but a lot less than most ghost hunters do. And I just enjoy it. I've got one of the old Xbox Connects SLS cameras that shows the stick figures. That's pretty interesting. What else do I have? I got a mel meter, which is kind of like a K2 meter. It's another EMF detector. The mel meter, the history of it, the guy that invented it, his daughter was killed in a car wreck, and he kept having feelings that she was trying to get in contact with him. I don't know if he was in the paranormal at the time, but he invented this EMF meter made just for ghost hunting and named it Mel after his daughter Melissa.
Oh, cool. So what is your single biggest piece of evidence as far as your paranormal investigations? What have you seen that you would make you feel like beyond a shadow of a doubt?
Well, what I've heard is I have it's called an RT EVP recorder. It was popular a few years back, and it's since been put out of production now, so it's really expensive, so I don't get it out that often. But on it was made to, if you put in a headphones, you could set the playback on it like 3 seconds in 3 seconds intervals. So if John was a spirit and I said, "Spirit, are you here?" and John says,
"Yes, I'm here."
3 seconds later, I'll hear, "Yes, I'm here," on it. So I was at this old house that was built in the early 1900s or before, and it was a 2-story house. I was upstairs in one of the bedrooms with two young family members, and there were 2 young gentlemen, and the other investigators were male. There was one other female investigator, but she was way down the hallway. And in that room, I'm sitting there talking to the 2 gentlemen about a laser pointer light, which is just makes a grid of laser lights, so that way, another ghost hunting piece of equipment. If the laser grid, you put it in a room against the wall, and if a shadow breaks the points of lights, and then it's possible spirits in there with you. So anyway, I was talking about this laser grid thing, and how my little dog, the one that sees ghosts, likes to chase the lights. And this woman's voice from about 3 or 4 feet away says, "Which one do I get?" Plain as day. It startled me because she was standing next to me. And those 2 guys did not hear her. The other investigators down the hallway, I yelled out to them, "Hey, did you say?" And she said, "No, why?" Because that was my clearest EVP I've ever gotten, and the one that convinces me that there's something out there. So.
Pretty cool. Well, Dee, thank you for coming out today, and maybe I can arrange it so that you can come back with even more equipment to show off.
Sure.
And hopefully, if I can get a good camera for going outside and walk around, maybe we can have a ghost tour sometime and record it. But until then, we'll see you next time you're on. Thank you.
Happy haunting.